got all the meat, a mile and a half or so up the trail, maybe more. And I just got to get this guy set up where the backpack wants to carry her. We'll be looking pretty good. Luckily Joe's been around to help pack out the heavy stuff.
I was gonna bail on you. It's on.
Well, we've made her to our first stopping point along the trail. What time is it?
I don't know.
I think we're pretty much ahead of schedule. We're gonna eat. We haven't done that in a while.
Yeah, it's about this time yesterday. It's 20 to 2. We originally, when Jaysen, you all right?
I'm cooking.
Yeah, that never happens in the real world, only in these movies. No, because we still have over a week left on the trip, we're going to take the meat into town to a meat locker and just have them go ahead and process it and pick it up on the way home.
Joe's still got a tag to fill.
Yeah, it was with a week left to hunt, and we kind of worry about that in this weather. It's just too warm in this country, so we're going to do that, which we don't normally do. We boned the elk out and got him all in packs and packed him, got down on a cut trail that we're on now, and we moved him up to a creek, and it was about 2:30 in the morning when we got done messing with him. We should be able to get out halfway through the day tomorrow, being Saturday, and we should be able to get into town. Well, by late morning we should be out, so we should be able to get into town before everybody closes and get the meat in a place to get taken care of. So we changed the schedule a little bit, and a good thing about that too is that we'll be out hunting a day sooner.
Yeah.
So if we can move. We're getting sore spots here and there. Jaysen's pack had a crash. There's some stuff that's not maintained here and there. Windfalls always happen, so he was climbing over one and some limbs broke and he ended up kind of upside down with the horns on his back. And I got a toenail that's all but off right now. Actually, our feet have actually been really good. We've got a couple little things that you always get, and the feet are really good. We've been doing a lot of downhill with these heavy loads, and now I notice a little bit on the toenail, on that pinky toe.
Well, I've had these particular boots I've had for about 4 years or so, and I really like them, but they should have been put down about a year ago or so, and they're doing some damage. So I'm dealing with it. I got some new sneakers back there at camp, which I was on the first hunt with, and I really liked, but for some reason I changed out just so I wouldn't get hot spots. And these are going away after we get back. So yeah, the feet are eating it a little bit. It's not. Other than that, it's not that bad.
Well, it's Saturday. We're still packing Jaysen's elk out. Last night we lost about 2 hours probably because we got caught up in a pretty good little storm. Probably one of the first ones of the fall. This ridge we're on, the wind was blowing about 40 miles an hour, and it was raining sideways. And we carry stuff for that because in this country, on this trip, it's 90 degrees one week and you're begging for rain, and 2 days later it's snowing sideways.
Yeah, this weather just came in really fast, and so we left. Our packs are waterproof, so we left a lot of our equipment, including the camera and tripod and stuff, up here, and hightailed it out with one of the meat loads, knowing that we can get her down. And it was just such a downpour, we decided to stick it out of the camp and rough it with coffee down there. And so
hard decision.
Yeah.
That's where we lost that couple hours of daylight.
Yeah. Just got back from town doing a little laundry. Ready to go out again tomorrow. We're a little messy here, but kind of been looking like this quite a bit lately these days. Don't have much to say for ourselves except we're busy. Joe sharpening knives.
I got my knife sharpener for people who can't sharpen knives. I made those for guys like me.
Cut a little deeper.
Good morning. It's about 9 o'clock Sunday morning, the middle weekend of the hunt.
we got Jaysen's elk packed out, got it down to a meat locker yesterday afternoon, or evening I should say, and we spent the night down at camp. Today it's really warmed up considering it snowed yesterday, about where we are now. The snow has left real fast. It's warmed back up, but it's a lot cooler than it was before the storm, which are all good things. We're back into the hunt. We're going back in the same direction that Jaysen killed his bull. There's a big herd bull in that area, and if they haven't left, and we might get some, you never know, we might see a bear in that area where he killed his bull there, where the remains are that we left, and might get some footage of that. We've got about 5 days worth of supplies, and we've decided that this is the last time we're climbing up on this bench with full gear. So we are staying until we kill something, until the week is over. Right up behind me, we got up here to take a first break once we got up, and there's about 4 cows and a little bull. He's either a spike or a little branch bull, we can't tell, up in the rocks behind us, laying down. So we're kind of back into it. As we get on up here a little further, we'll try to see what these are. There was a herd in this first draw we're in right here that had a young 5-point and some cows. I don't think that's this bunch, because this one's got that littler bull in it, that little spike or whatever he is, and that other herd didn't have that. Now that big herd had some bulls like that in it, but I don't think he would be over here. So as we carry on up, we'll get a better look at him, because we'd have to go up a little to get to him. But anyway, that's where we are, and we're back on the hunt. Okay, here he comes. Here he comes. Here he comes. That's a 6x6. That's not our 7.
This was a pretty nice bull here. We were looking for a particular bull, and this wasn't him. But being realistic, on a public land hunt, this is a bull a guy would go after. And we did, but we didn't get him.
Say they're on to us, Joe.
I think I could race him up and get around there and beat him.
Go for it.
Never happened.
I don't know, that big bull looks a little slow.
Yeah, so am I.
was a good call, Joe. The old sneezeroo.
Yeah. I was gonna, but all of a sudden I had to sneeze real bad.
That's a weird looking coyote.
Yeah, it was. Sure was blonde, wasn't he?
After keeping with the bull for 2 days, he seemed to give us the slip, leaving us to bed down on a rocky bluff under an approaching storm. With the elk bugling below in the darkness,
We waited until morning.
One of the hardest conditions to film under is rain. These cameras aren't designed for wet weather. The country we film in limits the average life of a camera to about 2 years. But on a day like this, filming would destroy one in very short order. Even with a rain jacket designed for this particular camera, Jaysen had to keep his hands out of the bag to avoid condensation from forming. Although we had followed and been among elk all day, it wasn't until the final minutes that Jaysen could start shooting.
Joe, I have no clue what I got. The viewfinder's all fogged up. I can see him in there. I got the shot, but I don't know if it was in focus. I can't see the blue viewfinder.
Well, you know what?
Good job, Joe.
Hey,
Hey, man.
Thanks.
Oh, there he is rolling.
Yeah, he's dead. He's not nearly what a guy was. That's stupid.
Sorry to the home viewer, because I don't know how good this footage is. As far as the hunt goes, it's been great. Good job, buddy.
Well, he's not.
I want to speak up a little bit.
He's not the bull I was looking for. Jaysen and I heard a bull bugling last night, and boy, the cows just came running to him. I mean, he was like Rob Thomas, man. The more he was saying, the more these cows were coming. Cows were leaving 6-point bulls and going into this draw where this bull was bugling. And then bulls was trying to stop him and herd him back, and it was really neat to watch, but we were too far away for good footage. But it made us really want to get a look at that bull. Well, this morning he was an extra over and doing the same thing, and you could see these other bulls on the outskirts that have 2 or 3 cows, and they were constantly having to herd them cows back to the bull. So we followed them all morning long, and after following them all morning long, we got across the creek, and he crossed back. It's been raining on us absolutely all day. It's 12. About an hour after daylight, it's been raining. Anyway, we were following them, and we got up. We knew they'd kind of circled a big across the canyon and back, going back to where we'd seen them, and we're coming up the other side. And Jaysen spotted them up ahead of us, and this bull was there. And by all rights, we were kind of caught, you know, but it's raining like crazy, and they're bedded down. And there was a couple big trees between me and him. I could see his back half, and I thought, well, I'll call a couple times and just see how close I can get. If it lets me get within range, I'll take a shot. Well, I did, and just as I got within range, I was about 35 yards. I noticed the cows behind him that were bedded down. That was when I noticed that was the herd, and the cows started getting up, and then I seen that big 6-point get up behind him. And he was a much bigger bull, but he was well out of bow range. And he stood up, and he's 6 on one side, and the other side where he's 6 is instead of having a 5th one off the main beam, he's got a point that goes back off the 4th beam. You know, but he's a big 6x6, just solid black horn, big bull, big animal. And anyway, I knew I was either going to shoot this one or none of them. And earlier in the trip, I told Jaysen this is the bull I didn't want to shoot. I told him I either wanted to shoot a big herd bull or a spike, because a spike's easier to get out. But when he was standing there, all that changed. And so I shot him.
Good job, buddy.
And he's a bull. He's a good bull. He's got 6 on this one side. The other side's under him.
He's actually got a little
brow tine. Yeah, 7. But no, he's a
7x5.
And he's a nice bull. We've got quite a pack to get out of here. He's not a real big animal, but bigger. You know, he's not like one of the big herd bulls would be. He's not as big an animal as that one Jaysen killed last week, but we do have a longer distance to go. And it doesn't seem like it's going to let up raining now. We finally got the rain we wanted, and it is coming down.
Starting to get worried about the camera, bud.
Yeah, okay, we better go, because that's why we haven't filmed nothing today, because it's been on this all day, so you better put it up. We're
Okay.
doing it.
Good job, man. Good job.
All right, thanks. Well, we filled our second tag. Jaysen got a little bit of footage of it, but we kind of had some adverse weather conditions the last couple days, and we've had to kind of stay out of the camera. We followed a herd bull yesterday. The night before, he was doing a lot of bugling, and we'd followed a big herd bull, big 7x7, for 2 days. We bumped him a couple times, and followed him for 2 days. And the last time we bumped him, I think he left the county. So we'd given up on that, and because that's really what I wanted to try to shoot, was one of them big herd bulls. And we hunted back this way, and the next day we got into this bull that kept bugling. And God, we'd see cows coming from other bulls on the outlying areas coming into this, and them other bulls would be trying to keep their cows, and all he was doing was bugling. And there were some nice bulls.
It was cool. There were 6 points.
The cows were leaving,
Yeah.
and so, but we could never see this bull. He was real good about staying down where you couldn't see him. And so we just had to know what he was. So we kept following him, and well, it got to really raining. We were soaked yesterday from just an hour after daylight. It rained all day. And all of our stuff is pretty lightweight stuff. The backpacks and the stuff for sleeping bags, it's kind of made to be weather resistant, but it's not waterproof.
Not for that weather.
And we got some of that real light packable rain gear, they call it, that folds up in the pocket, and it just didn't get it done. We're going up through the little ridge on the side of this draw, and all of a sudden Jaysen went, we stopped and whispered a little bit, and I just looked in that draw, not with my glasses, because everything was raining, and the glasses were inside my other jacket, and everything was drenched. It was kind of a miserable day. And I didn't really glass it. I just looked with my eyes. I didn't see nothing. I'm walking up the ridge, and all of a sudden Jaysen says, "Joe," I heard him whispering. God, I looked up, and I seen this little raghorn bull stand up. And right away I thought, well, that's a satellite bull. That's not one of the bulls that's not the bull we've been following all day. And so I wasn't, at first I thought I wasn't, but when he stood up, he was kind of looking at Jaysen, and he just stood there. And he was about 70 or 80 yards away from me, and I don't know, it's Tuesday the second week. We got a 2 to 3 day pack out for meat, and I'm thinking, well, I only got a couple huntable days left. And earlier in the trip, I told Jaysen, that's the bull I don't want to shoot. I either want to shoot a spike, because they're good eating and easy to pack, or I want to shoot a big herd bull.
Hey, yeah, I think you did good.
I didn't want to shoot one in between, but when he stood up, all that changed. I just decided right then, if he lets me, I'm going to shoot him. Well, when he stood up, there was a couple of trees in front of his front half. I could see his rear end, and I knew how big he was. Just, I thought he was a 5-point. And then as I got closer, and I could see he was a 6-point, but he shouldn't have been. And anyway, I thought, well, with them trees in front of his head, I'm going to walk right towards him, and if I can just walk into, it was raining, there was, he couldn't hear nothing. I thought, if I can just walk right up behind these trees, I'm going to shoot him. And so I did. I walked up, and I got about 35 yards away when I got up behind this tree, and he was still there. I stepped out from behind the tree. Well, right when I drew my bow and I stepped out, right when I stepped out, I seen a couple cows behind him stand up. And I thought, well, God, that whole herd's here. But now they all stood up and they were looking at me. Well, then, about the time I'm kind of eyeballing this bull, the herd bull stands up. That big herd bull is about 30 or 40 yards behind this bull, which put him about 70 or 80 from me. The herd was getting up. The herd was going to leave. We'd already bumped him once that morning. I figured they'd probably leave the county. There was no way I was going to get a shot at that big bull. So I shot that one that was closer. He had turned around, and I shot him right behind the shoulder, and he kind of jumped, and he ran up the hill about 20 yards and stopped and fell over. And then the rest of the herd was running up the hill, and I got to see that herd bull, and he was a dandy. He was a 6-point on both sides. The one side, though, he was a great big 5-point, and he had a fork off of his 4th point instead of off the main beam. But that's no matter. He was a dandy bull. So we've seen a couple of good herd bulls on this trip. We've seen three or
We've seen
four
some dandies
that were just real dandy bulls. Jaysen filmed some footage of a 7-point here the other day. He bred a cow, and we missed it. But that's on our last video. We filmed a bull breeding a cow, and I tell you what, I just can't help but think that was the same bull. That 7-point that Jaysen filmed the other day really reminded me of that one from 2 Weeks in Purgatory that we filmed 2 years ago. I have no way of knowing whether it was him or not, but just the way his rack was built and the way he was, he just reminded me of that bull. And it's not that far from there, so it could have been him. He's just a brute. But he got away. He's the one we followed for 2 days.
but the camera's getting closer to him each time.
Yeah.
If that is the same bull.
Jaysen got some good footage of him. But anyway, we've kind of had to back off on the video in the last couple of days just because it's just been raining and these cameras aren't built for that. We still got some meat out there we got to get, and we ended up packing till 3 o'clock this morning. Since everything we had was thoroughly soaked, we knew where a little shelter was, and so we headed there. Got there about 3, and now we're getting dry, getting a real meal, and then
Coffee.
we got to go out and get some meat.
Joe Chef.
Tenderloins and spuds.
Hey, can't beat that.
Can't beat that. We ain't got no eggs. Well, it's Thursday, the 2nd week, and we're going in for our last pack of meat. We're tagged out, and Jaysen has a buck tag, but we're not so sure we're going to really pursue that. But we're coming in. It's rained like crazy the last couple days. We haven't done much filming, but we got a little break in it now, and boy, we got a little break in it, and a little partly cloudy, and all of a sudden the sky opens up, and it is bluer and blue, and all the colors come out. So we thought we'd stop and get a little video. And right now, the thing about it is we're tagged out, but this is just beautiful country. I mean, this is just nice stuff. The hunt's over, but that's not true. We're still hunting. We're always hunting. If we're in the woods, we're hunting. I mean, not necessarily planning on killing anything, but we're looking for it. So anyway, there's a good chance we'll see elk, and we're hoping to maybe see a bear. But that's where we are. But anyway, we thought we'd stop and look at this valley a little bit because the colors are just really coming out. We're hiking back to get our last load of meat, and they just jumped out of the straw.
Joe saw cows first, and we figured there might be a bull. So
Yeah,
even if it was just cows, they were so close. We grabbed the camera. So
yeah, they were 30 yards away when they come out. Well, maybe 40. A cow and a calf, and then another cow. And while Jaysen was getting the camera out, another cow, and then that little raghorn bull came out. But I mean, we don't have any more tags, and we wouldn't have shot him anyway. But yeah, says I. It's easy to say.
well, we appreciate you watching the film, and hope you like it. That wraps up our trip for this year. It did pretty good. We got a couple branch bulls, and with bulls like this that we've seen, and the ones that we got, I got a feeling we're going to make it back, at least for another trip. So hopefully we can get the next one on film as well.
Yeah, the bigger ones definitely got away, but you know, this is a public land hunt, and you know, these are good bulls for public land. I mean, we're tickled with them, but yeah, we definitely saw some better bulls. There's a 7-point in particular that his days are numbered. He is definitely the goal for next year. But we had a good year this year. We saw good numbers of bulls, and we had our opportunities at a couple of herd bulls, and we just didn't get that done. But we got some branch bulls, and we had a good trip. We got a little rained out this last week on the video. In the first week we were doing a lot of videoing, but we had a good trip, and it's been another fun one.
Yeah.
After hunting the area for half a dozen years, you kind of figure out where a lot of them bigger bulls tend to hold up, and so it takes a lot of covering the ground and the time just to figure that out in a new area you start hunting. And we've hunted this area a long time, but we've kind of gotten an idea now where we think we can find some of the better bulls, and we found them. We just didn't get them killed, but it's still been a good trip. Anyway, we made her, and until the next one, thanks for coming.